Life is about perspective. On the one hand, when you think about how big the world is, it's like George Carlin once said. Someone said, well, George, you're one of the million. He said, there's billions of people on this earth. That's no big deal. But the world is so big and we're so small. And each one of us, I guess in the cosmic stream of things, we may not think that we make much of a difference. I know when the time comes for my journey to end, for the most part, the world's not going to change. So I'm always reminded that it's good to keep life simple. Don't get too puffed up about yourself. Just every day, just do your best, one moment, one day at a time. On the other hand, as small as each one of us is, there are a few people for whom you are their world, that you mean everything to them. Think about your partner. Think about your spouse. Think about your best buddy. Maybe you're an aunt or an uncle. Maybe you're a mom or a dad. Maybe you're a grandma. You are somebody else's world, and you are their rock. And in you, they see God, they see Jesus, and they see the power of goodness at work. That's how people learn about God. Not through preachers like me, not through books. People learn about God and about Jesus and the Spirit by watching people like you and me walk and act and how we treat others. Because it's in you and in me that people see the mystery of that higher power. That's where God dares to live. So what's in your heart and soul today? I always wonder that. When you walk in here on a Sunday morning, what are you thinking about? And what have you been through? What are you hoping for? It was barely getting light this morning, and I just took some time and I stood at the church front door and looked across LaGrange Road. And I saw the shape of the clouds, and I saw the orange just beginning to appear with the sunrise. I read the sign. It says, Simple Religion. And I thought of all the different people going to church this morning. All the different kinds of Lutherans and Christians and Jewish people and Buddhist people, all people going to different places, and a lot of people not going to church at all. And as I saw the cars going up and down LaGrange Road, I wondered, where's that car going? And where's that car going? Are they in a hurry? Are they late? Are they going somewhere fun? Are they going somewhere sad? And I realized that in the middle of this mishmash of humanity and traffic, that's where God lives. That's where we live. That's where the Spirit lives. And somewhere in this journey, God dares to dwell in your heart and my heart. I was thinking about the gospel this morning, about the prodigal son. You know, the bad son who wanders off, and then after wandering off realizes how good he had it at home and how much he misses what he left. Sometimes we have to leave what we have to realize the gifts that we're surrounded by every single day. But in his coming home, he discovers the power of forgiveness and the simplicity of love and what really makes a difference in the world. I must admit, sometimes I feel like the prodigal Lutheran. Maybe you feel like the prodigal employee, or the prodigal parent, the prodigal boss, the prodigal child of God. You know, every day we go about our business, we hurry from one thing to the next. We sometimes get so caught up in what we want to do that we don't see the good stuff around us. You know, I really sometimes forget and don't even know what it means to be Lutheran, which is probably pretty obvious in my preaching over the last 45 years. You know, you think of the catechism, you think of the rules, you think of the doctrines, you think of the teachings, and then I stand at the front door and I see the clouds and the traffic and the sunrise, and I realize religion has got to be simple. Being Lutheran ultimately is about being open to God's grace. It's about looking inside your heart and your soul, looking at the goodness of God's Spirit, and somehow embracing that radical power of love and dare to make that power of love come alive in the way you live on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. That's what it means to be Lutheran. It took me 4 years to figure that out, and I'm still learning, thanks to most of you. I guess I learned something about All Saints religion and All Saints math this week. Speaking of prodigal Lutherans, Hector teaches Sunday school, 5th and 6th grade, and he loves to take his kids to different places. So last Sunday, a group of kids from his Sunday school class and some of our youth group, they took a trip to the Buddhist temple of Chicago. And when they were there, they went to their version of Sunday school. And they have a Sunday school. And their kids and our kids were together. And one of our kids asked one of their kids, "What do you believe in? If you're a Buddhist, what do you believe in?" And I won't quote exactly, but the little girl said, "Well, we believe in the goodness of the human spirit. And somehow we want to feel that goodness inside of us. And that's why we meditate." And then one of our kids said, "What's the most important thing you believe in?" And she said, "We believe in love and we believe in kindness." And one of our kids turns to Hector and says, "You know, Hector, Pastor Don is a Buddhist." And then Hector put that on Facebook. So I called Hector on Tuesday. I said, "Hector, by the way, thanks for putting that on Facebook because I got a call from the bishop's office today and I'm on leave." And he said, "Really?" I said, No. Well, from there, we went to the Pacific Garden Mission. And we were late. And so the official tour guide, "Hey, they're late, I'm out of here." So we get there and there's no tour guide. And so this young man who was there, who was only 21 years old, said, "I'll take you on a tour." And in his tour, he told his story. How when he was 18 years old, he was living on the streets of Chicago with no family. And one day he dared to walk into the Pacific Garden Mission, which used to be on South State Street, which is now on Canal Street, a very relatively nice, big building. But you just can't walk into the Pacific Garden Mission. I mean, if you're going to stay there, you got to make some commitments. Like number one, you got to get a state ID. Can't stay in without it, so they'll get you one. And the other thing is you got to go to church. And they have church on Saturday night. And they have church. 3 hours. Singing. Testimonials. And if you don't go to church, you're out the door. Well, 3 years later, Michael is still there. He's 21 years old. He's a full-time employee. And he embodies the hope and the goodness that they try to bring to people who walk in the door. So when we're done, Hector asked me, "Don, can we just give Michael a little something, $20? And I look at Hector and I said, "Heck no. How about 50? And he said, "Don, I like the way our church does math." All Saints religion, it's opening our eyes to the beauty and the simplicity of the human spirit and God's Spirit in all kinds of different places. And All Saints Math is about inspiring us to give more and to be more than we ever thought possible, knowing that little bits of giving can turn into bigger bits of loving and sharing. All I know is that God's love lifts us higher and higher every day. And that love is inside of you, and it's inside of me. And our calling is to dare to let it out and make a difference. We'll continue with the creed. It's on page 105. If you're able to, please rise.